Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States.
We have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty.
Now you get RFK Jr.
Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again?
You get Tulsi Gabbard.
Putting our country in a continual state of war.
You get Elon Musk and you get J.D. Vance.
It's a hell of a way to start the next 4 years.
The right-wing Avengers.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
The rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
The golden age of America has most definitely begun.
Begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
They're getting the dirtbags off these streets.
There's one guy who can fix this shit, and it's Donald Trump.
What's sore, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Thunder rolls, the fire's in the sky. We've been waiting for this moment all our lives. The darkness gathers, the evil takes its form, but side by side we ride into the storm. They thought they could blind us. Together we ride into the storm.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Josh. Welcome to the Red Pill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Friday. Hope everybody out there is doing well and having a fantastic Thursday evening and staying warm in the majority of the United States of America because it is frigging cold outside. I'm fortunate I got the studio heated up prior to going live, hence why I'm a little late, but I wasn't going to come out here when it was cold out. So, man, it's negative 14, negative 15 right now. It's going to be into the negative 20s tonight. The wind chill, which it is windy, makes it feel like probably a negative 30, negative 40. Man, you know, all those Democrats out here in Minneapolis who wanted to get rid of ice, and what do they get? They get a massive freaking Arctic front that rolls in and gives them nothing but cold and ice. You got to love the way God works with his symbolism, right? Well, starting off with that, we'll get into actually that part here in a second. Just a few announcements tonight after this show. Directly after this show, we have a live Q&A with myself on Zoom. If you want to join that, all you have to do is be a premium subscriber with us on any of our channels. And so right there, you'll see that whole paragraph come up. Join us tonight, live Q&A after the show. Become a premium subscriber on any of our platforms, x.com, socialredpill.com, redpillproject.substack.com, and redpillproject.locals.com. And once you're a subscriber over there, you'll see a link come up tonight after this show. There'll be a Zoom link that pops up, and you just click on that link and you can join. And a hint to everybody out there who's a premium subscriber who's got that link and it's the same link. Just an FYI. We only change it when people start showing up that weren't subscribers and that type of thing. But anyways, man, we are moving into the storm. Interesting, isn't it? So today, Dan Scavino, in his proper authority, going out there and posting that a storm's coming. I just love it that Dan Scavino is posting this. So Dan Scavino, 2 hours ago, historic winter storm to hit 200 million Americans. And that wasn't the only post that he did. He did one right before that. And this one was at 5:31. And the one before that wasn't too soon off, 5:25. So it was only a 7-minute difference, but still. No significant, I'm not even sharing this shit. I'm sorry. No significant timestamps on any of Dan's posts, but key message for major January winter storm. Major January winter storm. And this one, historic winter storms that hit 200 million Americans. It is cold all the way down into Texas. It is a polar vortex that is circulating around the United States. And man, it is absolutely cold. You know, it was funny. I was getting in my truck earlier today. I went to the grocery store, got out, and I get outside, and I'm like, you know, it's not even cold. It just stings. Like it's no longer cold. It's just painful. If you've ever had it that cold, it's just painful. Where you lick your lips and it's immediately frozen type of deal. Yeah. Now, this is interesting. This is really interesting. I mean, the storm is hitting tomorrow, right? So it's hitting tonight into tomorrow. And so we know where the storm is going now, and it's supposed to maximize tomorrow. Tomorrow's Delta, 3785 on January 23rd, 2020. What storm, Mr. President? You'll see. POTUS. I don't think things are coincidences, but hey, who knows? And that song that was played at the beginning of the show was Into the Storm. And I know I played it probably earlier this week, but it was worth playing again. It's a good one. So looking at the chats out there, the chats are rocking and rolling. People are wondering, is this HARP? It could be. It could be the Patriots, the white hats, the good guys using HARP to say, hey, you guys want to interfere with ICE when they're doing their job? How about some cold air? Because here's the thing is, I don't think any of these protesters are going to be out there tomorrow and tonight. The reason I say that is because it is deathly cold. I mean, it's hard to stay warm even if you're bundled up. And this is what you want to do. You want to quell this riot with the lack of momentum. You have to move the momentum from them. They've already canceled schools all throughout Minnesota. I'm pretty sure in other states as well. So speaking of Minnesota, you know, Don Lemon last week went and stormed into a church on Sunday during session with a bunch of rioters. And we knew that charges were going to be coming. Yeah, the DOJ, Don Lemon charged by the DOJ after storming church with anti-ICE mob. Although the federal judge has denied the DOJ's claims to prosecute. This is unprecedented. It's crazy. So we're about to see some fireworks with how Pam Bondi operates around this one. But I find it interesting. We get a crime committed Sunday, and the DOJ is able to put charges out there within a matter of days. Yet we have crimes from 10 years ago that we have declassified evidence on. Information everywhere. We have the money trail of how it all worked and operated. Crickets. Now, do I think that this is what the indication of the storm actually is? That we're about to see a strategic. I'm curious. Is anybody on Facebook? Facebook, can you guys hear me? I'm curious. I don't see anybody chatting. We normally have quite a few people on Facebook. So I want to just go ahead and just validate that we are live on Facebook, but I don't see anybody chatting. Facebook, can you guys hear me? Facebook. Oh, weird. For some reason, I'm not seeing the, it's, so for some reason, those chats are turned off. Okay. Facebook, I see you. Thank you so much. For some reason, I can't see the chat though. So anyways, just know that, but I do have all the other chats pulled up right in front of me. Now with Don Lemon, do I care? No, not really. I mean, if you want to think about it in the context that, yeah, he was tipped off. Yeah, they told him to go along, but why are we giving these people our energy? Why are we giving these people even our breath to even speak about them? Let's just make them irrelevant. If we stopped focusing on them, if we stop paying attention to them, if we stop driving their analytics, they'll just go away because there's something coming. And this is a strategy that I've looked at, and I do believe that we are going to be spot on correct on this, which if you know our track record over the last year or so, this is a good one. Number one, the idea that the president of the United States has only the momentum of the first 100 days in office is generated by basically the last 4 or 5 different presidents prior to Trump. It's not realistic that, you know, he has to make all of these certain accomplishments in the first 100 days to be a successful president. Number two, there's certain deadlines that are kind of arbitrarily put out there by people, political pundits, etc., that the president basically only has a year and a half to make a difference in the country, to get things done, to pass legislation, because no president has won the midterm elections, at least in recent years. Well, the problem with that statement is that the midterm elections are corrupt. They're stolen, at least in recent years. So when we make that assessment that, oh, you know, President Trump, he only has, you know, a good year and a half to make a difference, or, you know, the Democrats are going to come in and take over Congress, that's bullshit. Not if you know what we know, not if you understand what we understand. And here's the ideas that you have to start imprinting in your mind. Number one, ActBlue criminal investigation started back in November of 2025. ActBlue, if you did not know, was embezzling money in through private organizations. And basically, the way the scam worked is you would have U.S. tax dollars leave through Democrat-appointed money, through USAID, through grants. These would go to corporations, institutions, NGOs. Those NGOs would move that money around through dark money channels. They would get them into private organizations. And then through those private organizations, they would create some type of scam to basically fake donors. So if they had one person that donated $10 to the DNC or to Act Blue, what they would do is they would spoof that person's identity and they would max out that individual contribution. And this was busted by James O'Keefe and OMG Media a few years back when they went to the houses of these donors, and they were little old ladies in their 70s or the 80s who had donated once and never donated again, but yet their max contribution limits were completely maxed out, saying they donated $60,000, $100,000 to Act Blue. That's the scam. And if you want to know how it works on the business structure side, go to FTX. FTX was one of the intermediaries running this scam. FTX borrowed money directly from their parent company through a proxy company known as Alameda Capital, right? So they borrowed real legitimate money from Alameda Capital. Now, this is when crypto actually had some standing, so they could borrow the money with the assets actually in tow, because the assets basically compensated for the money that they were taking out, the real legitimate money. Then from Alameda Capital, $1 billion was then distributed into investments. These investments were small little businesses throughout the United States that were like tech startups or crypto startups. The problem with the crypto startups is over 110 of them that we saw that received millions upon millions of dollars. Every single one of them on all of their Crunchbase or whatever it might have been portfolios had some one paragraph description of what the company was, who they were, a generic name, no profile picture, and absolutely no contact information. And immediately after they received the money, those businesses went away. That's a dark money channel. That's how you move money through proxy organizations. So shell companies, if you want to look at it like this. So this is the gambit that is being played right now, that we will expect to see some type of prosecutions coming about in the course of the next 3 to 4 months on that. Now, why is that critical? Because number one is when you look at the deep state, and we're talking about accountability, and we're talking about, let's go out there and let's see the arrest of Hillary. Let's see the arrest of Obama and Brennan and Clapper. This is the most crucial time for them right now. I guarantee you there are active FISA warrants on Barack Obama, on John Brennan, on Hillary and Bill Clinton. Active FISA warrants, which is what? It's tracking the communication between them. It's getting them confessions off the record that they're doing in private conversations. However, they are doing that, whether it's through Gmail draft documents or Xbox Live or whatever. So right now, they are catching them red-handed, most likely with FISA warrants. And I want you also to see why this is important. If Donald Trump came out and made arrests originally in the first 100 days or the first year of his presidency, this wouldn't have went well for him. Not with everything else going on. He had to set the global stage and the national stage. He had to rebirth the United States of America. He had to rearm our military, regrow our military. He had to go out there and start dismantling the head of the snake. The head of the snake is the global elite, the globalist organizations who were the deep state actually were working for their ideological goals, the liberal New World Order. He had to go out there and dismantle that whole system, put it into complete and absolute chaos before he could act on the deep state here, because communications flow back and forth. Communications go up and down. So if you have active FISA warrants on all the deep state players and you're dismantling their bosses, the leaders of the liberal New World Order, well, now you're finding out more information than you probably had before to make a grand conspiracy RICO case. So what does that mean in the context of arrest? Because we know now that the Trump administration, they are in full throttle. They are coming out, and Trump just said, you're going to see prosecutions and arrests. We just had the grand jury being opened up on January 7th in Fort Pierce, Florida, or January 3rd, January 12th. It was January 12th in Fort Pierce, Florida. This is Judge Cannon presiding over it. Eileen Cannon presiding over, the same one that presided over at Mar-a-Lago. Okay, this is under U.S. Attorney Jason Redding-Quiones. This is investigating 2020 election fraud. This is investigating FISA-gate, Russia. we can expect within probably the next few weeks for indictments to actually start rolling out. Now, why is that going to be so critically important in time frame? Because we start to see the first primaries for Congress, for congressional seats coming up in March and April. Now, I want you to put this into context. If you have criminality indictments rolling out in and around March, April, May, June, July timeframe, at the same time that the election year is ramping up, and not only do you have that, but you have D&I Gabbard going out there and declassifying information. Maybe even recent FISA information gets declassified, communications between these people. They release more communications of the conspiracy that actually happened. They show the world exactly what happened and how it happened, how they were stealing elections. And you do this in the midst of an election cycle. At the same time, the Democrats, typically right now, you'd be hearing about how much money the Democrats have raised. I've heard nothing. I've heard nothing about how the Democrats have raised. Maybe they've raised 30 million, 50 million. I don't know. We knew that Kamala Harris was $1 billion in debt at the end of the last presidential election cycle. Donald Trump even offered to pay it off for her. But the DNC cannot be doing well. So now you take it that they have a deficit of money going into the midterms. Then they have criminality, corruption being exposed left and right. You have indictments coming out, taking out their national leadership. That's the perfect storm. And then you have election integrity that gets implemented at the same time right before the primaries begin to really kick off. And that's going to ensure a red wave. That's going to ensure that not only do we win the House, but we win the House and the Senate with a supermajority. And this is Donald Trump. Don't underestimate Donald J. Trump. This man knows he is going for a supermajority in the Senate and the House. And I think he's going to get it. Now, if a year from now, we find out that the Democrats took the House and took the Senate, it doesn't matter because that's just lock and load time. And I truly do mean that because it's get ready, right? But I don't think that that's the case. I can understand and I can visualize and see that the Donald Trump administration is in full control. I might not like some of the people, but they are in full control and they are moving the ball and they are doing everything tactically, strategically, methodically. And if I was Donald Trump, if I was understanding this from a military point of view, and this was a battle and unrestricted warfare, that's how I would do it. I would hit them right at the most vulnerable time, election season. Right when primaries begin to ramp up, boom, you have Swalwell out in California running for re-election, and all of a sudden, Swalwell gets indicted. All of a sudden, information comes out with Swalwell and Fang Fang of how Swalwell through the House, what was it? Not the Ways and Means, but the one that looks into corruption of politicians, they come out and declassify information that, yes, Swalwell was compromised by China. He did have an affair on his wife with Fang Fang, and this was investigated by the DOJ, but the Biden DOJ or the Obama DOJ dropped it. Imagine what happens to Swalwell during that time, and he gets indicted. Imagine what happens to people like Nancy Pelosi or other corrupt factors. That when they're going in for their primary, boom, allegations against them, declassified information. Adam Shifty Schiff gets indicted on the same day right before his primary. Not only that, his declassified evidence shows massive corruption and criminality beyond mortgage fraud. That's how you take these people down. Because it doesn't matter about the left. Because the majority of base voters are in the middle. The majority of the base voters are normies. They are hard middle left, hard middle right. They are independent moderates. And when they see on the news that Adam Schiff is in corruption right before and he's being indicted by the DOJ, they don't care who's in office at that point in time. They're going to look into it. They're going to read it like, oh my goodness, this isn't good. I'm not going to vote for him. I think that's House Ethics Committee. Thank you. House Ethics Committee. Thank you, Mager Sarge. Appreciate that. So this is what we have to understand. This is tactical. We are at war. This is unrestricted warfare. And in order to understand unrestricted warfare, go back to Trump at Davos. Everybody on the globalist regime, the globalist ideology, is saying that this is the death of the rules-based international order that the United States of America helped create, blah, 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 right? What are they saying? Donald Trump destroyed the New World Order. Donald Trump dismantled the New World Order. They're pissed. The reason why Mertz, Carney, Starmer, von der Leyen, the reason why they are so angry with Donald Trump is because they got rug pulled, because they just had their whole dreams and ambitions of a liberal New World Order, of a commie-fascist, oligarchical controlled, technocratic state just pulled out and dismantled in front of them. The real world order is being engaged right now through unrestricted warfare. And there's only two players at the table, and it's not Europe. It's not the European elite. It's not the old guard. It's not the deep state. It's the United States of America under Donald Trump, and it's China under the CCP. And notice how I didn't say Xi Jinping. So this is monumental, because I wish somebody would come out there and declare it. We just witnessed in Davos, Donald Trump didn't go in there and say, I want your surrender. Donald Trump didn't go in there and say, you're going to do this. He said, y'all messed up. You screwed up. You had a good thing for 100 years and you exploited it. You exploited it for your own power, for your own control. You exploited it for your own bank accounts, and you took from people. You removed their sovereignty. And guess what? Those days are over. Not going to happen anymore. In other words, he announced the death of the deep state. He announced the death of the New World Order. That's where we are at right now. And it feels really good to be here, because at the very least, the Western New World Order, liberal New World Order, whatever you want to call it, has been systematically dismantled. Right now, the EU is going to move towards collapse. The EU. European nations are abandoning ship and trying to get in good with Donald Trump. This is why you have Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, coming out there and trying to do a deal on Greenland with Donald Trump. And Greenland came out today and said, we don't accept these terms. Mark Rutte was going out there negotiating for Greenland, and Greenland didn't even know. Why? Because they're trying to save face. They're like, hey, guys, maybe you don't understand. He's not going to stop. What he's doing is going to win. And we're not going to have a country, a nation, or a position, or any power whatsoever if he succeeds. So we might as well figure out how to work with him. Amazing time to be alive. And yes, we should have some information coming out about, I believe, the 2020 election fraud coming sometime here, I think, in the next, I hope, the next few weeks, but we'll see how long it actually takes for that to come out. Tammy will be joining me tonight. Someone was asking there. Yep, Tammy will be joining me, as she does every Thursday. We'll have her here in a little bit. Going back into the same thing, and Donald Trump right now, he was posting he was posting a little while ago in back-to-back, and one of the things he posted is this, and it's well worth to the look at it. Let me pull it up here. Maybe we should have put NATO to the test and invoked Article 5 and forced NATO to come here and protect our southern border from further invasion of illegal immigrants, thus freeing up large numbers of Border Patrol agents for other tasks. He's on a plane on the way back from Davos heading to D.C., and those are the things that he's dropping. You know why he said that? He said that because he knows that NATO would have declined. NATO would not have stood up and defended the United States of America. He reiterated this the other day in Davos. He says that I don't believe that NATO would help us if problems happened. That if someone was invading the United States of America, I don't think NATO would come to our rescue. And this is a reiteration of what he's saying right there. It's not all he said. His presence there alone and the board of peace that he is forming is a direct smack in the face to the United Nations. Listen to what Jesse Waters, and Donald Trump just posted this a little while ago on his True Social, but listen what Jesse Waters has to say about this. Of course, it's not going to load and it's going to be slow and lethargic. Let me go ahead and refresh this page.
Trump is landing back in America tonight after a pretty busy 48 hours in Davos. When he was in Switzerland, not sure if you heard, he demoted the UN and created the Board of Peace and packed it with his golfing buddies.
I think, let me see. Yeah, every one of them is a friend of mine. A couple, let's see, a couple I like, a couple I don't like. No, I like, actually, this group, I like every single one of them. Can you believe it? Usually I have about 2 or 3 that I can't stand.
And in a shocking development, Trump named himself the chairman of the board and called it an honor and hired the UN as his secretary.
Once this board is completely formed, we can do pretty much whatever we want to do, and we'll do it in conjunction with the United Nations. You know, I've always said the United Nations has got tremendous potential, has not used it. On the 8 wars that I ended, I never spoke to the United Nations about any of them.
This is what happens when you sabotage Trump's escalator and Jimmy with his teleprompter. The Trump Board of Peace already doing more than the UN. We're building golf clubs in Gaza. The only thing they'll be fighting over now is tea times.
This is a great location. It all begins, see, I'm a real estate person at heart, and it's all about location. And I said, look at this location on the sea. Look at this beautiful piece of property, what it could be for so many people. It'll be so great. People that are living so poorly are going to be living so well.
Look into the future. The Board of Peace is envisioning what looks like Dubai on the Mediterranean. Kind of looks like a Muslim Miami Beach. But just because it's the Board of Peace doesn't mean we're not going to get a piece of the action.
What about the formation of the Peace Summit? And I was like, is that PIEC? You know, a little piece of Greenland, a little piece of Venezuela.
Elon's got Gutfeld writing his jokes. Poor guy. But he's right. It's not just a little piece of Greenland. Trump says we're getting full access.
I'm not going to have to pay anything. We're going to have total access to Greenland. We're going to have all military access that we want. We're going to be able to put what we need on Greenland because we want it. We're talking about national security and international security. So we're going to not have to pay anything other than the fact that we are building the Golden Dome, and the Golden Dome is going to be something that's going to be very amazing.
The deal right now, and it's still being hashed out, will give the United States pockets of sovereignty. Basically, huge chunks of territory run like American embassies all over the island. Right now, we just have 1 military base there. We'll be adding dozens more. We're also getting major mineral rights. We'll get rights of first refusal, and we'll get veto power over Russian and Chinese mining operations. The deal also includes missile rights for the Golden Dome and an enhanced NATO presence. And Greenland not saying no.
We are willing to discuss and do more. We have a responsibility. So let's talk about it through the right channels in a respectful manner. Then I'm sure we can work something out that benefits all of us.
If Greenland keeps behaving, we might let them have a hockey team. And maybe we'll film some movies up there. Open up a Walmart. See that, Europe? That's good parenting.
Okay. It goes on, but you get the gist of it. Now, one of the things I'm going to say on this, it goes back to the talks that we've had over the last months, especially with Gaza. Everybody's yelling and screaming, Donald Trump, he's building golf courses and hotels in Gaza. How dare him? How dare him? The hell are you talking about? He's building a tourist attraction right on the Red Sea that's going to flood in tourists from all over the world and make that little patch of land in Gaza incredibly wealthy. Well, yeah, but it's all of his buddies who are building it out and financing it. Rightfully so. It's not going to be the people of Gaza who have been poor and forced into poverty by the Israelis for the last 60 years. But the Palestinian people, they're going to suffer because of it. No, they're not. They're going to have jobs. They're going to have houses. They're going to have a working economy. They're going to have a growing economy and a GDP that actually matters. And the real kicker is this. When you have Saudi and Qatari money, when you have European and American financiers taking billions, if not trillions of dollars and investing it in Syria, investing it in Gaza, and they build massive hotels and tourist centers, guess what? Bombs don't drop on those places. Bombs don't drop on major cities where massive amounts of investment capital just flowed into. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that the most interesting damn thing that you've ever heard? Give me one brand new city out there that's been built in the last 20 years that had bombs drop on it. Every city that's had bombs drop on it over the last 150 years was old, was rotting from the core, was decrepit. Even the Twin Towers in New York City, those towers had to come down because of asbestos infestation. They didn't take down any buildings that didn't have asbestos. So understand, by Donald Trump going out there and renovating Syria, building up in Syria, building up in Gaza, he's actually ensuring them peace and prosperity. He's giving the people there the ability to earn a living, to go out there, make money, to invest within their area. What does that do? What happens when people go out there and they start working every day and they start doing things they love and they start becoming prosperous? They start their own businesses. They go out there and they have a thriving metropolis that's around them. Well, the whole idea of terrorism to Israel or to the rest of the Middle East just falls away. You remember when I said that we have to change the culture? That what we are witnessing in the Middle East over the last 30 years was generational trauma, generational PTSD. And that came from a lot of the Western countries and some Middle Eastern countries. How did it happen? Well, through destabilization of the Middle East for their assets and their resources, primarily through Britain, the British Empire, the overthrowing of various different regimes in those areas, as well as the Bushes and Clinton and everything and Obama that started massive amounts of war in the Middle East that basically had generations of children growing up in warfare conditions. So the only thing that they knew was hatred for the white man, hatred for Christians, hatred for the West. You have to change that culture if you want true and lasting peace. And guess what? By going into Gaza and building massive resorts, hotels, restaurants, golf courses, putting a whole new infrastructure in there, spending billions, if not trillions of dollars in Gaza to make it a tourist center of the world where tourists are going to flow and spend money, you are giving the Palestinian people in Gaza a chance and an opportunity to go out there and to begin the chance to change their culture. You're giving them the opportunity to become prosperous in life, to become part of the first world of nations. And guess what? I believe that the majority of the people that live in that area will embrace it with open arms because they're sick and tired of warfare. And it's a much needed change that they've been waiting for a long time. And again, in the next decade, the 2 decades, after the generational change begins to shift back, you will see long-lasting peace in the Middle East. So Putin, earlier today, met with U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner in the Kremlin. So Kushner and Witkoff, they left Davos, went out to Russia, met with Putin. And then after this, Putin comes out and says, I want to join the board of peace, but I'm going to set a red line. He goes, Palestine first. He says, Russia will not join any board of peace unless the rights of the Palestinian people are fully guaranteed under UN resolutions. No compromise on Palestinian sovereignty or long-term stability. Russia pledges the $1 billion for peace in Gaza in the Middle East, funded directly from Russian assets frozen by the West. Wait a minute. You mean the same frozen assets that the EU voted to utilize for the Ukrainian war effort about a month and a half, 2 months ago? The same frozen Russian assets that the EU no longer has because they've loaned off of it for the next 30 to 40 years that they're going to have to pay back themselves? Oh, yeah, exactly what Donald Trump said. Immediately after the EU made that move, they changed the EU rules for member nations where Hungary vetoed it, and they have absolute power of the veto. And guess what happens? The EU went in there and said, nah, we disagree. We're going to pass it anyway, basically undermining member nations, which now want to leave the EU. And then you had Euroclear, which was holding these assets through Western sanctions, $320 billion worth. And Putin's like, yeah, we're going to use those to pay for the board of peace. And Trump came out right after all this happened with the EU and said, yeah, let's take that $320 billion and utilize it for the resettlement of Ukraine, the rebuilding of Ukraine. And Putin came out just the other day and said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's rebuild Ukraine with this $320 billion of frozen Russian assets. Why does that matter? The EU doesn't have it. They spent it. Which means that the EU is going to have to come up with that money to facilitate these promises. That's going to bankrupt them. It's going to show the world that you don't do business with the EU. You don't trust Euroclear with your money. You don't trust London bankers with your money. This is why countries are pulling their gold and silver out of the London precious metal exchanges. Because for a long time, they've been taking the gold, they've been coring it, putting tungsten in it, and then reselling it off. This is what I mean. You just witnessed the end of the New World Order. The globalist infrastructure is dismantled. Right now, it's just rogue pieces falling away. The EU is the last of them to fall. So Donald Trump has a massive military fleet headed towards Iran. He was asked about this. He said, maybe we won't have to use it. We'll see. Now, why is this interesting? Well, Israel just canceled leave for all of its soldiers, prepares for potential action on Iran. Okay. So he sent in a massive armada. The Eisenhower just entered the Arabian Sea. And this goes back to what I said the other day. There was a backdoor channel between Iran and the United States. When Donald Trump said we're not going to strike Iran, this came about because the back channel, Pakistan Army Staff General, that is Donald Trump's friend, relayed a message between the Khamenei regime, the mullahs, and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said, we're going to strike you unless you do this. And the Iranians, they agreed. And Donald Trump said, no. It's not that much to agree. I'm giving you a time frame. You have 30 days to comply or bombs start falling. What was the compromise? From what I got from people that I know, is the compromise involved Khamenei and the mullahs leaving Iran, packing up and leaving, and Iran having free and fair elections, not allowing a power vacuum to succumb to it, but the mullahs leaving and going to Russia or another country. And I don't think that they're going to leave, because ever since the end of all of that, where Donald Trump rug pulled the strikes on Iran, we've seen nothing but Chinese planes, military planes flying into Iran, which the thought is that either Iran is ramping up their nuclear production to develop a nuclear weapon, or China is helping them put it together. So hence why a military armada heading into Iran. The deadline is coming up. I think we potentially could see some strikes on Iran, but if it is, it's a confirmation that basically China has entered the proxy war of Iran. You got to remember how critical Iran is to China. China only had 3 legs of energy domination: Venezuela, Iran, and Russia. Russia right now is already starting to lean directly towards the United States of America. It's 50-50, even though it has defense cooperation agreements with China. It has trade agreements with China. They share a border with China, so they have to be nice. But at the same time, Putin and Xi knows that Putin will align with Donald Trump if everything begins to change and peace within Ukraine comes about fairly fast, which is going to happen around springtime. So with that being said, China knows that they're most likely going to lose under the table Russian oil. They've already lost the Venezuelan oil. Now they have to pay a fair market price for. And if they lose Iranian oil, now Donald Trump, through the West, through Western proxies of OPEC nations, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Oman, Venezuela, now he controls Chinese oil. China can't have that. If China wants to become a hyperpower, if they want to follow through on their 100-year plan, they can't allow that to happen. So this means that they have to have some type of proxy intervention in Iran to secure them as a continued rogue nation that is under the control and power of China. So we will see what happens next. But we got hints and indications of this today. Trump said the people who brought the tariff litigation against our country now in the United States Supreme Court are strongly China-oriented. They're very upset by the fact that the United States is doing so well. Giant growth in investment, almost no inflation. These people, in some cases, Americans, should be ashamed of themselves. And so he's telling you that the Supreme Court case that's being heard right now on Trump's tariff, which I believe the Supreme Court is going to rule in favor of Donald Trump with, this is being paid for and bought by China, at least through proxy funding. China is not happy. China is losing massive power and ground that they've been building over the last 5 years. All right. And I'm going to bring Tammy in here, but I wanted to preface this because I love this part. This is the good stuff right here. Let me go in here real quick. Oh man, they got a ton of good stuff in here. So we're going to go ahead and read. I want to read this one ad real quick, and then I'm going to get into the next two stories, and then we're going to bring Tammy in. But I'm going to read this ad real quick. Have you ever have one of those moments where the F-bomb is absolutely justified, but you don't feel like blowing up your entire life today? Yeah, that moment. That's why it exists. It's called an F-bomb jar. You drop one silently, no yelling, no consequences. All the impact with none of the fallout. Deploy responsibly or don't. We don't judge. You'll see it on the screen. Scan the QR code or click the link below and use the code RUMBLE10 for 10% off your entire order at thingsofholding.com. Again, thingsofholding.com. And that is on the screen and in the chat and in the description for those links for that specifically. So I played the clip yesterday of Donald Trump at Davos saying they saw weapons that nobody's ever heard of. They pulled the trigger on their missile launchers and nothing happened. One did launch and it fizzled out about halfway through and fell at their feet. We heard stories of their sonic weapons that Delta Force utilized that immediately caused enemy soldiers to bleed at the nose in excruciating pain, start vomiting to where they couldn't fight back. Hence why 20 men eliminated 75 people in a matter of a minute. The Department of War Chief Office of Technology and Research put out a meme today. And yes, we are paying attention. Weapons nobody's heard of. And on it, nuclear, directed energy, drone. We are entering an age where warfare is transitioning. This is interesting. Skywatch Signal put this out. He said, if Lockheed Martin were openly talking about this 11 years ago, what can they do now?
Through this.
And I remember when this video came out, and yes, this is 11 years old, but listen to this.
So that information doesn't flow through a wire next to a structure, but literally flows through the structure.
We'll be able to grow or make a structure that, say, is the skin of an aircraft, that inside of that is also contained the sensors or the energy storage or many different multiple functions.
New materials that are on the lab bench right now, they can literally change shape on command. They can become almost a muscular material.
We could have an airplane that optimizes its shape for the different flight conditions it's in.
There's definitely a lot of amazing technology that's going on. The Lockheed Samurai, based on a small maple seed-like looking device. The fact that we can package enough energy for something like that to fly and still carry a sensor, a camera, enough control capability for it to fly is amazing to me. As we go forward, we're going to find new ways of using these unmanned vehicles.
They'll probably be autonomous, so they'll be like UAVs, but carry cargo around where there are currently no infrastructure in place.
We may have small swarms of small vehicles interacting with a larger vehicle that basically combines the information from that swarm. So maybe one vehicle flies a small distance and another vehicle learns from it and knows which way to fly.
Probably what makes sense is a heterogeneous swarm. One where not every element of the swarm is the same. Some elements of the swarm carrying sensors, some carrying other types of electronics. So it's an adaptable system that can adapt to a changing environment and a changing future that is difficult for us to predict.
The true value of research is not in the answer you get that you knew you were looking for, but the answer that you find that you didn't know to look for. So that information.
That was 11 years ago. Isn't that interesting? Now, you heard them talking about swarm warfare right there, right? This is the U.S. military's test drills just the other day. Drone warfare is one thing, but a lot of the things that they were talking about are things that I've touched on over the course of the last few years. I'm not saying I know a lot of things, but I do know certain things about this. And one of the things I will tell you is that I know for absolute certainty that we reverse engineered some exotic technology. We understand anti-gravity. We can recreate it. The thing is you can't fly it. You can't take this to another star system yet because we don't have the computational capacity or the ability to process the data needed in order to do all that. The ability to navigate space is massive computation. Just keep that in mind because the things that you're going to see coming out over the course of the next few years, the 500-year leap in less than 20 years, it's going to be pretty remarkable. It's going to be pretty crazy. What's up, Tammy?
Hello, hello. Oh my gosh, so crazy. I am on the Trump train this week.
Are you?
I am, dude. I am. I absolutely loved his WEF speech. I mean, listen, I tell it like it is. If I'm not happy with Trump, I'm not happy with Trump. If I'm happy with Trump, I'm happy with Trump. This week, I'm happy with Trump. He spoke to the people. You know, I mean, I'm always on the side of the patriots, always. But things were moving slow before a couple of weeks ago. I feel like things were moving very slow, and I tell you, it was like he came out, Josh, and said, "We have got to win the primaries," and boom, action. It was like one thing after the other, and I can barely keep up with all the stuff that's going on. It's so crazy. But his speech, I felt like he's watching social media closely and he is responding to us directly. He's at the World Economic Forum. That speech was for us.
Yeah.
That speech was for us. He talked about credit card capping, that 10% for the next 12 months. He talked about how he's in favor of the homeowner. He's very protective of homeowners and that he understands that that's how Americans build their wealth. He talked about the economy. And I was like, I don't know about that, Trump. I don't know. I personally do not see groceries going down yet. You know me, I'm all over the food industry, right? So I've not seen that dip yet. But gas, absolutely. He's 100% right. Our gas is really good right now here in Colorado. And a lot of other things. I checked on plane tickets. Those are down too. That was true. Like he was true. And maybe the food is coming down. It could be slower here in Colorado. It could be artificially inflated in Colorado. I don't know. But this speech was for us. The best part of it, and actually some of your audience tagged me and texted me about this part because I always talk about American culture now. I have built this into my show where I take a few minutes every day to talk about American culture because the left, they'd want us to not have a culture. They're telling us, oh, you don't have a culture. You don't have a culture. It's all about immigrants. It's all about, a piecemeal culture. You wouldn't have a culture if it weren't for immigrants. That's what the left wants us to think. And so that really, honestly, that pissed me off a long time ago. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start talking about American culture and what it is. And then Trump said almost exactly what I say every day. He said, we have to claim our culture. I mean, I say that verbatim every show. We have to claim our culture. I wish he would have said the last part of what I say. But I mean, he wouldn't say this, but I say, if you don't claim it, someone else will. And we are in danger of that, right? We are in real danger of that. And I think people are waking up. But, you know, I just thought that part was so perfect because this is the vibe I have been getting from Bobby Kennedy and him for, you know, the last year. Listen, we can only do so much. Americans shape culture in the country. The citizenry shapes culture in the country. Our actions matter. They can hand us our freedom. If we won't claim it, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything, you know? So they can only do so much. They're dealing with legal issues all the time. It's a negotiating table back and forth. But listen, the way we act and respond to things, that is what shapes culture. So I was so excited to hear that speech. I really felt like he knocked it out of the park. The other thing that he did, which I covered, I think it was today on my show, maybe the day before, I can't remember. But he spoke plainly.
Yeah.
Like he always does, right? But it was more old Trump, I think, than ever, this speech, than I've heard for a long time. And he spoke plainly. And, you know, I was doing some research for my culture segment, and that is a defining piece of American culture. Do you know that? Our language, we are known for that across the world, for speaking plainly. The reason why we do it is because there's no room for error. In the American mind, on the pioneering ages, back in the homesteading ages, you know, there was no room for error. You can't beat around the bush here. On the frontier, it was, you know, do or die. And so those roots still are here today. We speak plainly. We speak plainly. It's part of our culture. Everybody at the WEF is commenting on how, you know, well, Trump said this. He said this was stupid. He said, even one of the interviews I saw after, it was just annoying because he's like, do you think you have to speak this way? And I'm like, yes, actually, I do. I do think we have to speak this way, you know, because everyone's always questioning and you know, why does he talk that way? He talks that way because that's who he is. He's an American.
Yeah.
He's an American. And I would much rather, I don't understand people who want to be BS to. I don't understand people who want up talk.
Now, did you see Larry Fink's introduction for Trump?
I did.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think these guys are a bit weaselly. You know what I mean? So they play the side that they have to, and they know he's got it. They've got to cater to him now. You know,
there it is. That's what I was waiting to hear. So there was two sides that I saw in Davos. Well, three sides, right? There is Trump and Trump's delegation and people, countries out there that are aligned with Trump, right?
Yeah.
And they just walked in and
yes,
we own this fucking place, right?
Yeah.
Then there was the EU, the liberal New World Order, the international rules-based order.
Scared.
This is Van der Leyen and Starmer and Merz and Macron. Macron had glasses on because his husband probably beat him. Who
that's
knows?
what I said.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. He's probably got black eyes.
But so what I want people to see here is that Trump waltzed in there and he told the New World Order, you fucked up.
Yeah.
You had 100 years to do something good. Organizations like the WEF were built to do good in the world, and what did you do? You exploited it. You stole from people. You tried to take away their sovereignty. You tried to centralize control and rule the world, and you lost. Now it's our turn. That's what he basically told them. And the beautiful thing about this is Larry Fink is like sitting up there, and he's the new head of the World Economic Forum.
Yes.
But BlackRock is getting a ton of deals from the Trump administration. They're going to help rebuild Ukraine, right? All of this stuff. What Trump's in bed with BlackRock now? And Ryder, who's with BlackRock, might actually be the new Fed chair. But I want people to understand this. Firstly, BlackRock started in the late 1980s, whether you think it was whether it was Jewish mafia or not Jewish mafia that rose up. They developed a software, the Apollo software, massive, huge hit within financial institutions. They have 120 trillion assets under management under this software. That doesn't mean that they have $122 trillion worth of net value, but they are a $100 billion company fairly easy. But this is what I want people to see. Is in order for Larry Fink to go out there and grow his company during that point in time, he had to play the game. He had to play the global financial game. So when the globalists and the liberal New World Order, the Rockefellers, the Soros, and Zabrinskis and all these guys, and are out there, the Kissingers are out there, and they're realigning global policy and regulation. They're moving towards green energy. You had Kyoto 92, right? When they start to see this, and they have Codex Alimentarius 98, all of this, that company has to realign if it wants to survive.
Well, and it's too big to fail, too. Like, it's the megacorp. BlackRock is the megacorp. They own everything. You have to be strategic about this. He even talked about, and this is great, how he's put a hold on them being able to buy homes. Yeah. That's wonderful. But he said, I know you're going to hate me, but we cannot have America being a nation of renters. We're not going to have it, right? But rest assured, he's negotiating in other areas. Right. He's not going to do them wrong because they are too big to fail. They've got their tentacles in absolutely everything. And it's about negotiations. It is about negotiations. I know we don't like to think of it that way, because it's our country and we're patriotic and we love our country and we think Constitution and we think do right by the people. But this is going to be a slow navigation, right? And it's a back and forth negotiations, and things change rapidly, and we'll see what we get. I mean, but Howard said the same thing. Did you see Howard Lutnick's speech?
Oh God, it was amazing.
It was it was really good.
I can actually bring it up, but I want to close my thoughts on BlackRock. Number one is I'm not condoning BlackRock or BlackRock's actions. I mean, they were one of the precursors for the World Economic Forum agenda, for the trans ideology, pushing diversity, equity, inclusion, pushing environmental, social, and government.
Taking full advantage.
They were taking full advantage. They were some of the designers of it. But here's the thing, is there's a new daddy in town. And what have they done? They capitulated. And here's the thing I don't know whether they have to. Yep. They have to. And this is what Donald Trump is doing. Instead of taking down a mega corporation like BlackRock, which would have massive implications.
Yes.
Globally, okay. Yep. Financially, globally, this would be detrimental to the economy.
Absolutely.
Instead of doing that, Trump goes in and he's got them turncoating. He's got all these countries turncoating. The only ones that aren't turncoating are the European Union, are the old guard, are the old aristocracy.
And Mark Carney. Come on, don't forget Mark Carney. He is the UK, right? He's a London banker. I mean, that's precisely what he is. But there's so much here that I want to talk about. There's so much here I want to talk about. There's so much in news. Yes, let's take a listen.
Okay. We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum. And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries.
Because globalism, they're forming a one world order. That's precisely why they don't care if they're dependent on China. They don't care about all of that. But it's just incredible. Like I said, there's so many word salad speeches coming out of the WEF. I mean, it's just incredible. I want to talk about climate change too, because there's like just a whole bunch of. It's just amazing to me how these people can speak without actually saying anything. You know, but when it comes to Americans, it's like, I understand what he's saying there. He's very clear. He's very clear.
And what he just said was that globalism is dead.
Yes.
You guys are done.
It's over.
You go to Trump's national security strategy that came out in December. That was the nail in the coffin for the EU, for globalism, for things like the WEF. I mean, Donald Trump even came out and basically his board of peace is undermining the UN. I mean,
yeah, I do have to tell you something, though. I mean, I have to say, you said, you're like, oh, this is going to be great on the Gaza Strip and all that stuff. But okay. I can see that. But listen, this is Jared Kushner and Trump getting rich, too. Let's not forget that. This is a whole smart city they're putting in.
Let me ask you this, though. Let's start right there, because I want to ask you this. If it wasn't Trump, if it wasn't Kushner brokering these deals, who would it be?
Well, I'm just saying the point I'm making is like, this is signature Trump, right? And it is signature Trump. And so
build it big, baby, big and beautiful.
Yes, but this is why people get into politics nowadays. See, in the old days, way back, people got into politics to serve, okay? And I'm not faulting Trump for it. Hear me out. We built a society that in order to be a successful business person, you have to have your hands in politics because of the nature of the corruption is pay to play. It's pay to play in politics. Do you think Mark Carney really wants to be the PM of Canada? No, Mark Carney became the PM of Canada because he's in charge of Brookfield. And government was coming down too hard on regulations. And so they say, we got to get somebody in there that can actually lighten up regulations so we can go forth with our climate change agenda. And Trump's playing it from the same side. Regulation in real estate, all of that stuff, very hard. So
we tend to want to look down on it, right? Like, how dare he use his position of power and authority to go out there and earn money for his company?
Everybody else is doing it.
Well, it's not that everybody else is doing it. Is that if there wasn't industrialists in the world, if there wasn't real estate moguls like Trump and Kushner, you wouldn't have the real estate in the world. Here's the thing is someone has to do it. Right. And so the idea is that I want, instead of thinking that, Trump's family is going to profit, billions of dollars. Yeah, they probably will. And good for them. Good for them. So are the Saudis with their $23 trillion investment in the United States over the next 10 years. And Trump and Kushner are the ones that set that up. Right. And I'm pretty sure that Trump's companies will definitely profit off of that, along with many other companies. But you want to know who else is also going to prosper out of that? The American people here in the United States of America. Do you want to know who's going to prosper in the development that's going to come about in Gaza? Palestinians. Where's that workforce that's going to build those tall skyscrapers and buildings? That's going to build those hotels? That's going to man the desks? That's going to work in the restaurants? They're going to work the golf courses? That are going to be building restaurants and working in the restaurants? Who's going to run that show? You're going to have a formalized, structured government that's going to be set up. And going back to my other point.
But this is the nuance of life. This is the nuance of life, Josh, because yes, that is the sunlight, right? That is the good thing coming out of it. But listen, if you were bombed on the Gaza Strip and you're an innocent child and an innocent woman or an innocent man, and you don't even want to be in that situation, then this is why people are soured on it, right?
Well,
because
it goes
it's like
back to culture.
Yes, yeah, but it's also because, Jared has ties to Israel. And so it's like, oh, is it a proxy thing where Jared is doing the work of Israel and, Trump is, I'm just laying it out to you how other people see it, right?
Oh, this is how I see it too. But did you see what happened today? So 2 things. Number 1 is, I don't like Jared Kushner as far as I can throw the game.
Yeah, I don't care for him myself.
He is absolutely not a proxy for Israel. He's actually been very critical of Netanyahu, doesn't like Netanyahu. He's actually in business with the Qataris, which are of Israel. Okay? So, Jared Kushner, I could give 2 shits about him. This is the perspective that we need to see, and this is what the Trump administration, when Trump's looking at Gaza, this is how he's seeing it. How do I ensure that in 100 years, the Abraham Accords will still be in place, that there's not going to be a destabilizing factor that comes about in the Middle East? Is if I bring in BlackRock, I bring in Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and I bring in European financiers and American financiers, and we build out an infrastructure in Gaza, how many bombs do you think are going to drop on that infrastructure?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
None.
Yeah, it's a default piece for sure, because that will be known as Trump's area essentially.
Right. So that, now take it in the context, is that now you have the Gazans, the Palestinians, that over the last 60 years, 6 generations of warfare trauma from the Israelis and from destabilization efforts and Egypt and all of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
How do you turn that trauma off? How do you transition that trauma? Because we talked about this before. You have to change that culture in order to bring stabilization, or you're going to still continue to see the same thing over and over and over again. Well, you have to, you can't just go in there and say, hey, you're Americanized, here's your own culture. No, you have to allow them to build it themselves, and you have to give them the money and the funding in order to do it. And the people in Palestine are loving this idea. They're up in arms about it because they understand the levels of opportunities that are going to come, but also the level of healing that can come about from all of this within their culture.
And that
They're
may
doing
be
the same
so.
thing in Syria.
But is it at that point then, is it their culture? Because this is like have you seen the plans for this thing during the WEF, right? That's not really their culture, right? That's American culture. That is
hold on.
Advanced.
Hold on. We don't know their culture. And the reason we don't know their culture is for the last 60 years, they've been having bombs drop on them anytime that they gain ground to do anything. So it's not up to us to say that that's not their culture. We don't know their culture. Right now, their culture is warfare because that's all they've known. And we have to give them the opportunity to go out there and create it themselves.
Yeah, and I think it's good that we have this discussion, because I think it's important that we stop thinking binary. We stop thinking, everything Trump does is awesome, or everything Trump does is bad. You know why it's important that we start thinking like this? Because this is real life. Real life means from good, there is shit. From shit, there is good. Right? This is the true thing. I always say this, that America's got a hero problem. We grab on to these heroes and we want to, make them perfect, like they're right out of a movie. They never do anything wrong. We don't talk about anything that they do wrong. We kind of we'll overlook all the bad things they do because we like all the good things they do. And that got us into really bad times.
Yeah.
Because this is how they were able to use Trump as the demon, and, TDS started. And we've never seen anything like that in terms of division in our country. It's because we have to think we have to think more nuanced when it comes to these types of situations. There are bad things that go on, and sometimes good things are going on at the same time. So, we can't just gloss over the fact that Gaza was decimated, that innocent people died, that children died, and now they're going to build a smart city there. Because if we don't talk about that, that's ammunition for the left, because they will talk about that. We have to present it in a way that it's like, listen, this is how places get conquered. This is how we got America. People died.
So let me throw a variable in there. And I see a lot of people, nope, I'm out. What Trump is doing is bad. Okay, I understand your sentiment on this. But let me help people try to understand a bigger picture here. So Trump invited Vladimir Putin to the Board of Peace, which is going to be the kind of the interim governing authority over Gaza. Putin accepted. And there's 2 points to this. Number one, the $1 billion. And number two, what Putin said. He said, Russia will not join any board of peace unless the rights of the Palestinian people are fully guaranteed under UN resolutions. The UN resolutions have adopted Donald Trump's peace plan. So basically what Putin's saying is that only if the Palestinian peoples get their state solution,
yes,
will we be there. Now, obviously, there's one factor that does not want a 2-state solution or a 3-state solution, and that is Israel. That's right. Benjamin Netanyahu. So how do you ensure that Benjamin Netanyahu stays the fuck out of Gaza, leaves Gaza alone? You arm the shit out of Qatar, you arm the shit out of Egypt, Jordan, you arm the shit out of Saudi Arabia, you arm the shit out of Turkey, you make defense cooperation agreements with them, you make business deals with the Qataris, the Saudis, UAE, and you let them invest trillions of dollars in the United States infrastructure, trillions of dollars into Gaza. And by the way, it's not just Trump that's investing, it's the Saudis and the Qataris, and they're right there in that neighborhood.
He's inviting all kinds of people to invest.
So here's the thing, is when this begins to happen, and now you got Russia involved. So if 6 months down the road, construction's beginning and Israel's like, oh, they stepped over a red line. It's not Trump that's going to react.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be Saudi
everybody.
Arabia. It's going to be Qatar. It's going to be Russia. It's going to be Turkey. It's going to be
it's smart. It's smart.
Exactly. And I know that it's not the ideal situation that we all want to see. I would love that some Gazan Palestinian billionaire rises up and says, I'll pay for it all. Power to the people. But it's just not going to happen. And I'd much rather have people of power investing their money in a place like Gaza. And I say that lightly, but I say that because are you going to bomb the shit out of a Trump hotel in Gaza?
No, but that's just it. This is what people don't like, though. So it's okay to bomb the shit out of a bunch of extremely poor people that may be completely innocent. And listen, I understand it had to be done. I understand the dynamics. I'm saying that it just, the left is going to grab onto this and they're going to say, all the poor people that died and stuff. And so in order to like start bringing everybody's brain back to nuance and to real life, we have to talk about this too. This is the political system that we work within. People get into politics now to get filthy rich. That is true. That is why people get into politics now. Because if you don't have any money, you're not winning anything in politics.
So someone on YouTube said, turning the world into one large business. I love you. I appreciate the comment. The world's always been a big business.
We're a corporation. That's why we have to look at America
not the
like
States
that.
like that, but the whole world.
Yeah, it's all been about business.
Politics in general is nothing more than deals, negotiations. That's what diplomacy is the ability to go out there and structure business deals. That's what it's all about. The world is one big business. And I mean, you can look at business as nothing more than relationship. It's relationship and communication.
Well, I wish it was more relationship. I think people have gotten we're dealing with at the highest level with Trump and these types of billionaires. I think it is a lot about relationship, but in the everyday marketplace, I think actually relationship has fallen by the wayside because of the internet, and it's about attention. It's always about attention at that level. So I don't know. I think people need to start thinking more nuanced in order for us to come together. We need to come together, No doubt about it, right? I feel like, I don't know if anybody feels this way too, and maybe it's just because I don't watch any mainstream stuff at all, but it feels like Trump derangement syndrome has gone down a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think?
Well, let me ask you this, is how many lefties are out there protesting about free the Palestinians?
Yeah.
I haven't heard any.
None. I haven't heard any either. I mean, we have the stuff going on.
Who resolved that?
Yeah.
Trump.
Yeah. So we have to, I don't know. I just think that we have to start training our brains to understand nuance. Our heroes do things that we don't like sometimes. And it's okay to talk about that. You're still a hero. You can still do good things and do things that we don't approve of at the same time, and it's like, it's this binary thinking that has gotten us into a lot of trouble. With health right now, there are so many things happening. And because of everything that's going on, in geopolitically, it's not getting very much attention, but these are the things that impact us most. Trump just barely mentioned health insurance in his talk or prescription medications rather in his talk. But there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes as well. We have an SSRI study out this week, an SSRI study that, and this is terrible. Many people were lied to and told that they could take SSRIs while being pregnant. Yes. And many people did. They said it was safe and it was effective and it was fine. And it's not. And now that's been revealed, that study. So as, all this stuff is going on geopolitically, there's a lot going on in health. And so there's, simultaneously things are changing. And I don't think people are like really looking at the health stuff, but this is the stuff that really matters. This is how we're shaping culture, is when we tap out of these things, right? So super important to know the SSRI study that just came out this week. There's a pomegranate extract study that I wanted to talk about tonight too. This is huge. Before I forget, listen, Jason has unlocked free shipping for everybody tonight. New customers get free shipping on my polyphenols. That's the cellular reset. I know that many people in the red pill community wanted to try the red pills. And some people were like, oh, where do I get them from and stuff. So we have free shipping unlocked on that. And if you're already an existing customer and you need to reorder, text me and I will also get you free shipping. Okay, I want to get that out there because I was supposed to say it right at the beginning because I was doing another I was doing another talk and we gave free shipping to that audience. And
what?
I know. I know. So I was supposed to say it right away because I don't want it to sell out because we can put so many orders with free shipping, and Jason unlocked so many orders with free shipping, and I was supposed to say it right away. So if you're wanting to get the cellular reset, that's the red pills that I always talk about, the polyphenols. If you're wanting to get those, go and get them now and unlock the free shipping. Okay, you want to head right over to the website
redpillhealth.info for everybody out there wondering.
Redpillhealth.info is the website. So free shipping for new customers. And then if you're already a customer and you wanted to reorder the red pills or you reorder the collagen, I'm going to give you free shipping too, because I don't want anybody to miss out on it. So just text me, though. You have to text me if you're already a customer, because I have to go in there and pay for it for you.
Yep. So there's that number, 720-303-8868 to text Tammy, 720-303-8868. And that's redpillhealth.info if anybody's interested. We'll have that link up here in just a few minutes.
Yeah. I wanted to just finish up on the pomegranate study. So listen to this, everybody. And I was going to bring these pictures, but then my other talk went long. So they have like a comparison of arteries without polyphenols, and you can see the plaque buildup in it. And then they have, and this is all in Nature. You can look at the study. It's a groundbreaking study because this is better than statins. So polyphenols are better than statins. Shocking. shocking that nature is better than pharmaceuticals. But it's published in Nature. It's about pomegranate extract. That's one of the ingredients in the cellular reset that I always promote. So it shows the arteries that are clogged, and then it shows arteries that are on polyphenols and they're clean as a whistle. Nature provides. Oh my gosh.
Love it.
But so Bobby Kennedy took over the journals. So he's really bringing the hammer down on the medical journals. And he's like, he's not going to publish any NIH studies in the medical journals until they get rid of the pharmaceutical ads. So guess what's happening? We're getting access to all these great studies that we didn't used to get. Yes. So the SSRI study was one thing that came out, the pomegranate extract, so polyphenol study. Also, there's a lawsuit, you guys. And this is going to really, I mean, as a parent, this is going to make you mad, except for Josh, because he did the right thing. There is a study, or there's a lawsuit now going on that's about to start that to the American Pediatric or the American Academy of Pediatrics, that they willingly withheld information on vaccine injury. And so they are getting sued slapped with a RICO lawsuit.
Ooh.
They knowingly withheld information about vaccine injury.
For profit.
Yes.
For profit.
Absolutely. That's why they're out of the medical journal gang. You know, he's like, no more. And so we're going to see a lot more of these lawsuits. But again, there's a ton going on geopolitically. And I understand that, you know, it's just like, where do we look right now? Because so much is happening. But it's my lane to tell you about these studies. So SSRIs, if you know any pregnant ladies, please make sure they get a hold of that study, because it increased autism by 6 and 9-fold.
Wow. Well, you know, Gabe was on last night.
Oh,
and,
cool.
From GOODBRU, for everybody out there. And he was talking about, what was it? It was, vaccines and gut health.
Yes.
And that one of the things he said is that your blood type in infants isn't actually determined until kind of your immune system takes over, and then your immune system kind of determines your blood type. And wait, what?
Yeah, that's interesting.
And so I'm like, wait a minute. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, hold on a second, because that's crazy. Because if you think about it, now we understand that Donald Trump was making a connection between acetaminophen and autism. Now,
yes.
What does acetaminophen do to your gut
Ruins
microbiome
your
of
gut.
the mother
and your liver.
And the mother's gut bacteria is the gut bacteria of the infant. And then it comes out of the womb. The baby comes out of the womb, and what do? 120 shots right into the arm.
That's
suppresses
right.
the immune system with already injured immune system, and voila.
That's right.
So I was like, wait a minute. And then now think about this, is that now it determines a blood type, and that blood type kind of determines how your immune system will operate and function. But now you start to look at things like how your gut and your health with the food that you eat is so critically important. And it goes back to that one book that I know this book has been debunked, but now I want to go back and relook at it.
The blood type book?
Yeah. Eat for your blood type. And I'm sitting there going, this makes so much more sense now if you think about it in the terms of gut health.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And you know what? They picked apart just the stupidest part of that book, and then it blew up as usual. And then the whole thing. He
lost his medical license.
And they threw it out, like they threw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Like they say, but I've always thought that is a key component of understanding your health is your blood type, because like, I don't, it rings true for, I've seen patterns over the years with people I've worked with. Some people do not do well on vegetarian diets. They feel like, you know, they're going to expire on them. Me being one. So I'm an O blood type, and I cannot go without meat. I cannot.
So I'm O negative. And I was vegan, and I was vegan for a little while. Because I built into the hype. I watched Food Matters, Food Inc., right? And I'm like, oh my God, well, let's try this. And I gained 60 pounds.
Yeah, because it's high carbohydrate, your body. And there's so much fake food in vegetarianism, quite honestly. There's so much fake food because you have to they make up these nut cheese or, nut yogurt and stuff.
It's all soy and
it's got a lot of stuff in it
it's
to
all
make
just oils.
Yeah.
I was at the grocery store tonight and I've just recently got back into keto, right? So I'm like, okay,
Great.
I need to go Mediterranean keto. And so I'm looking at everything that I'm buying, making sure, and all the keto friendly stuff is nothing more than a sales gimmick. It's all got
absolutely
oils, hydrogenated oils.
It's not for health.
Nope, it's not for health. It's absolutely marketing. And I'm like sitting there and I was able to find actually avocado oil mayo.
Yeah.
That the only ingredients are salt, vinegar, egg, and avocado oil. And
was it $12 a jar?
It was. It was at Costco.
It's so expensive.
But
make your own. You know how to make your own.
I do. I make my own.
Yeah.
And so I actually bought a bottle of avocado oil, but it's nice sometimes because you get that they perfect that flavor. So when I make my mayonnaises, I always test the different flavors. So I'll make one that's a little spicy. I'll make one, so I do all different types, but it's always nice to just have that mayo level one.
Yeah.
Right? So I bought some of that, but I'm making all different types of dressings and mayos, and I do all my own stuff. But I do it because I don't trust what the hell they're putting in it.
And you shouldn't.
Even if you buy things, you just can't trust it anymore.
That's right.
And so, one thing that I've been doing a lot is watching my macros. So just basically, instead of looking at calories, I said, fuck calories. I don't even want to worry about calories.
Yeah.
Look at your macros.
Yes.
Look at your macros and understand that, remember, the food pyramid is turned upside down.
That's right.
That's right. So proteins and fats are up here. So, and by the way, for a big misconception out there, the weight loss world is number one is don't do the GLP-1s. Stay away from that shit. We've talked about that on the show. But number two is that when they tell you that your protein intake is equivalent to your body weight, that you should take,
1 gram.
1 gram per.
I recommend 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you want to weigh 150 pounds, you should be eating 150 grams of protein a day.
Key. Is it's not your current body weight. It's your ideal, your desired body weight.
Yes.
And I don't think people understand that. I mean, like I had, I eat a lot of cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese.
That's great for you.
I eat cottage cheese, but I didn't get nearly, so I ate like 3 times today and I didn't get nearly as enough protein as I needed. I'm like, son of a bitch. And when you start to understand that, and this is the big thing, is that if you ate regular food, grocery store, middle shelf food, I would have been stuffed and been full and like, oh. But then you realize that if you count the macros, there was nothing in it. There is no nutrition that's doing anything for you. Now I went out there and I ate 3 times a day and I couldn't even get what my body needed into me.
That's right. That's right. And Jason's realizing this right now too, because he's dialing his diet in right now. And so I made him, I do these little mini burgers, because they fry really fast.
Yep.
And so he had like 6 little mini burgers, some sauteed onions, some cheese on that. And I think he had 3 eggs. And I was like, you need to eat to satiety, right? So you don't, eat too soon again. And that was 84 grams of protein.
Yeah.
84 grams of protein. And he's not bitched at me for food yet today.
And it's funny too, because like you have to cut carbs out. If you're O blood type, just stay away from starches and carbs. Just do it. I'm telling you.
It goes straight to our legs and our butt.
I'm on my 3rd day with no sugar.
Do you feel better? Clearer?
No, I'm like irritable. I'm pissed off. I'm angry.
You're detoxing.
Yeah. My dopamine centers are starting to come back to life now, right?
Yeah.
But it's so for everybody I know is when I got out of the military, I was in really good shape. I was 180, 185 pounds. Few years later, still decently in good shape. I think the highest I ever got was like 205, and 205 is just, I've been lifting, I got some muscles, but I always had a nice defined chest muscle. I always had nice defined arms, always in really good shape. And then I went vegan and I gained 60 pounds. And I'm like, and it was the heaviest that I've ever been in my life. And I stepped on a scale and I said, this is it. I'm done. And I completely reversed and went carnivore overnight. And don't do that, by the way. That's not a good thing to go vegan the carnivore because you don't have the gut microbiome. But I realized that I had to do something differently. So what I did is I started eating nothing but just leafy greens for a week. So I did kind of this detox, get it all out of my system. Leafy greens for a week, and then I went into a 1 week, 7-day fast. And then from the fast, I was already in ketosis. So now I got myself to be fat adaptive. Fat adaptive means that I went out there and I started eating a high fat, high protein diet to where if I did have carbohydrates, my body would prefer fats over carbohydrates. And I was actually telling someone this today. So I went from 250 pounds. I'm only 5'8", but I carry 250 well. But I went from 250 pounds. I lost 30 pounds the first month.
Yeah. Keto's fantastic.
I went down to 200 pounds in less than 3 months. And I was like, look at me, woohoo. And but then what happens?
Well, this is what I see that happens in my practice when I work with people. They've done keto before, and I can't tell you how many times people have said, well, maybe I should go back to keto because it worked for me before. Listen to me loud and clear. If something worked before and you need to do it again, it actually didn't work for you. It wasn't sustainable long term. So I love the keto diet. I promote the keto diet for therapeutic use. I think it's a great way to start on your optimum health journey because it can really jumpstart results. But ultimately, it should be a whole food diet that we're going towards, right? You don't want to be peeing on a stick every day.
I'm talking Mediterranean. So I basically a Mediterranean diet is what I do.
Low glycemic fruits, lots of greens. You need the fiber for your gut microbiome. Lots of protein. That's great. Yep, GOODBRUs too. I mean, some people, the thing is that there isn't the perfect diet for everybody. Right? We are individuals. And, as we move forward and build this new health frontier, because this is what we're building now, we are building so many people are awake about health. We're building a new system here. The citizens of this country are building a new system here because they're like, I don't trust my doctor anymore. I have access to information. I'm questioning everything. I don't want pharmaceuticals. I want to know what I'm supposed to eat. I want to work with my lifestyle. So we are shaping our culture when it comes to health. Like previously, we were known as fat Americans. That period is over. Agreed. That period is over because we are so awake now. We understand that we have to take personal responsibility for our health. So things are changing. But here's what I find that when I've worked with people that have done keto in the past, is it's not sustainable. You have to build yourself a lifestyle that you love. And I love that you're not focused on calories because that's the old model. That's the old model that doesn't recognize that weight is a brain issue. It is a brain issue. Your hormones are controlled in your brain.
It's a mitochondrial issue.
Your hormones are controlled in your brain. Okay. You have a hormone called ghrelin that signals hunger. You have a hormone called leptin that signals satiety. When we work with calorie restriction, you are trying to override those hormones. You're trying to override ghrelin. That's like trying to override your freaking heartbeat. You're not going to be able to do it forever. Okay. You may be able to do it. It's uncomfortable. And then you blame yourself when you fall off because you're like, I didn't have the willpower to stand on, to keep going on. Well, listen, you don't have the willpower to stop your heart either. Like, it's just ridiculous. Eat to satiety. When you eat real food and you recalibrate those hormones, you won't have to work with willpower ever again. You won't. Because you are just simply responding to your body's signaling. So I think keto's fantastic. I love it as a tool. I don't think it's sustainable forever. In fact, I have worked with people who have done keto so long that they've actually lost hair, their skin has changed. Like, so you need to cycle in, at the very least, you need to cycle in fruits and vegetables. You can do low glycemic fruits and vegetables, and you'll build your gut microbiome, and your hair won't fall out. And it's way more sustainable when it comes to, building a lifestyle.
And what I do is, I've done this before. I'm fairly proficient on it. So, but yeah, I had the bad experience with keto. So when I was doing keto before, I wanted to drop more weight. I wanted to get down to like 170, and I started doing it, and I got sick.
Yeah,
I started not feeling well, and they're like, "Oh, you need some trace minerals." And so I started drinking trace minerals every day. And if you don't pay attention to how much you're drinking, specifically with magnesium, did you know there's a side effect of magnesium poisoning that nobody even realizes?
Besides diarrhea?
Well, so this is what happened to me. So I was taking,
can lower your heart rate too.
I was taking magnesium supplements, and I forget, it was it wasn't magnesium citrate. It was something like lower your heart rate, right?
Yeah.
So what happened is I would be sitting down relaxing. All of a sudden you hear the thump. You know that feeling where the heartbeat all of a sudden just changes tone. It's a thump. I'm like, oh, what the heck's going on? And you get a slight little chest pain. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And like, man, and it would happen for like 3 weeks. And I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is crazy. And thing is my wife at the time, she's like, you sure it's not any of the supplements you're taking? And I then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm taking the magnesium. But here's the thing is my brain had convinced myself that this has happened all along. This has happened my whole life, that this wasn't due to anything I was doing now, that this has been going on my whole life. This was the thing that I was convinced of, like, oh, this happens to me all the time, right? We try to kind of normalize it. But in actuality, it was the magnesium. I called my buddy, Dr. Mark Sherwood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what's going on. He goes, stop taking the damn magnesium.
Yeah. They'll put you on an IV magnesium drip if you have like heart issues in the ER. That's one of the first things that they start is a magnesium drip to kind of regulate rhythm issues.
It messes with your memory. It messes hardcore with your memory. So just one thing that I learned, but a few different things for everybody out there. We do got to get going here. We're coming towards the top of the hour. It's like we're on radio or something.
We could do marathon sessions, Josh.
Yeah, I do need to go ahead and play this real quick. And so give this out to everybody because I want everybody to help support Rumble and the Rumble wallet. And that's a way that they can actually support the Naturally Inspired podcast over on their channel and our channel over here. So they can freeze your accounts. They can shut off your cards, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you. They control you. That's why financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing the Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for the people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether, and you can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even with traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet, peer-to-peer, and outside the banking systems. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. So the links are right there, wallet.rumble.com. And if you want to search there, you go in there, you search Redpill Project, you can find us on there. And actually, one of our viewers sent me some Tether Gold today. So you can fractionalize Tether Gold. You can take $10 of gold and send it to somebody, and they can go redeem it if they want. So it's really, really cool. I urge everybody to go out there and check that out. And then for everybody out there who wants to work with Tammy, wants to get with Tammy, number one way to do is go to redpillhealth.info or text her 720-303-8868, and you can get it in with Tammy over there, and you can join all of their networks and their weekly calls and Q&As that they have going on. So redpillhealth.info. Tammy, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for the good conversation. And I like the devil's advocate because you always get me going. So I appreciate it.
I agree with you. I agree with you on most things. We are very much aligned, but I do want to help people get a little bit more binary thinking when it comes to politics. Don't forget, Trump will be leaving us in 4 years, or will he? Or will he?
Well, he said something about that today, didn't he?
He did.
So the other thing is I'm going to the live Q&A right after this, guys. So right after the show, just become a premium subscriber on any of our platforms, x.com, social, redpill.com, our private social network, redpillproject.substack.com, or redpillproject.locals.com. The link will go out immediately after this show ends. Just go onto those platforms. You should see it within 5 minutes. So I'll see all of you guys there in just a little bit. Tammy, once again, appreciate you joining me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. And come and join us. Come and join us in the Naturally Inspired Health Network. We do our weekly calls every Tuesday night. You can get access to them live or archived. Get started on some polyphenols today. Check out my cellular reset. And as always, thanks so much for your support, Josh, and your fantastic audience. I love it.
Thank you, guys. Much love, respect. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
There was a time when our children stood tall, hand on their hearts, one voice for all. There was a time when honor had weight, when the flag was a symbol, not a debate. There was a time when our history was known, with pride in the rules that made us our own. There was a time, respect for the brave, for those who bled, for the lives they gave. Now the homeland burns in silent war. Truth is twisted, we can't ignore. Voice still calls, we the people will not fall. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil under, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time when truth was clear, when the media served, not ruled by fear. There was a time when leaders stood fast, guarding the people, defending the past. Now corruption wears a crown, lies are fed to tear us down. But Q said watch, and Q said see. The silent war will set us free. From the front lines, soldiers stare, wondering if we're still there. Their blood, their hope, their sacrifice will not be sold for a last prize. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, the veil undone, patriots rise. We are one, land
freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Or we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was once like in the United States where men were free.
There was a time is near, the great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone, patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave, no more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time, there was a time, now is the time. Do it.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation. I want you to get mad.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!